Welcome back to Convenient Timing Tuesday, where it is conveniently timed to be Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know what was great about yesterday's show, Paul?
No.
Just a banger. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about. There's a couple of things. And then I think we said, toodaloo, goodbye, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then as I was clicking the end call button, I think Microsoft put out the Xbox spec stuff, right after we finished. It was great.
Right. Okay, yeah, that did happen. It seemed like it was forever ago.
Yeah, because it was approximately 23 hours and 59 minutes ago.
Right.
It was just...
kind of curious timing, in a way.
It really is. And I think this just... First off, I think Microsoft knows the hardware specs of the next generation PlayStation. I really do. And I think I think they at least know, the raw performance. And Microsoft knows that they have the edge. And they are just, saying, you know what? We know we've got the better box. I don't know. Their whole,
You're still got to be careful. I mean, Sony could potentially change the specs there.
I don't think, well, the only time they've done that is when was that PlayStation 3 where they said the thing's going to have 7 HDMI ports and then it shipped with one.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
The interesting thing about, at least to me with this Xbox stuff, is how unconventional it is, right? They were at a video game award show, yeah, this is the box. And then on a Monday morning at 9 a.m., yeah, here's the specs. They're just nonchalantly just throwing them over the edge of the boat.
Whatever. It's good. Space it out. Pick a slow news day.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. It makes me kind of wonder though, because typically they've had a dedicated event, not prior to E3 or whatever, where they say here's the Xbox, this is all the stuff. I don't know if they're going to do that, because
isn't it time to cart out Frodo again for another exclusive event?
I was hoping they were bringing The Rock back up on stage. That was also
yeah. Right. Yeah, I was there. I was at that.
I was not at that one.
Yeah, that was one of many examples where someone not from Microsoft was about 1 million times more interesting than everyone from Microsoft. There was a lot of that back in the day.
Yeah, but if they had, I'm assuming that they're probably not going to do that, because what would they here's the thing we've already shown you, here's the specs we've already talked about, and then
well, this is the new normal, right?
Yeah,
for
which
announcements.
Is fine.
I mean, it is fine. It's probably no longer necessary or even desirable to have an event like that. So, I don't know. They'll probably have a big thing when they ship it, just a party.
Oh, I'm sure that will be, whatever. They had those Xbox
multiple
events,
cities, and
I remember those. But maybe that's what they're doing. They're just going to talk about all the hardware leading up to it. Then at E3, talk about the software side of it, and then open pre-orders.
And by the way, that's not horrible, because
I'm not opposed
everyone
to that.
bitches and moans when they talk about hardware. So might as well use E3 specifically just for that.
And they already know that Sony's not going to E3, so they can kind of... And I don't think Nintendo's announcing any next-gen stuff or whatever, so...
Right, they can do it. Didn't last year they kind of spilled over into the whatever the Nokia Theater's called these days, and
Microsoft Theater.
Right, and they have their own space, and they can whatever. It'll be good.
Yeah, we'll see. It continues to trudge on forward. So the biggest unknown at this point is the price. I mean, we know it's shipping October, November, or sometime around there.
I'm fascinated by stories I've seen recently that all seem to have the same headline, which is sort of is the world ready for a $500 video game console? And the original Xbox One shipped at $500, back in, what was that, 2013, 2014, whatever year that was?
Yeah, with the Connect bundle or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the answer to that question is, but I mean, it's going to be somewhere up there.
It's got to be.
Well, the Xbox One X was, what, $400, right?
Yeah, when it launched.
So it's going to be that or higher, I would think. It's not going to be lower than that.
Yeah, it's funny. People get all upset about that, tweeting from their $1,300 smartphone or their PC where they spent $1,200 on just the GPU. I mean, it's if you want performance, you got to pay for it.
We are moving into, I just said the date, whatever. I don't remember what date is correct, but the 6th or 7th anniversary of the Xbox One. I mean, I suppose if you had spent $500 on it, bought a bunch of games and played it a bunch, I mean, I'm not saying it's an investment, but it's, I mean, there's different ways to spend money.
But even that argument like has some flaws in it as well, because first off, all the games you bought, which Microsoft announced, the Series X will support 4 generations of games, right? All your games will work. Your controllers that you bought with that Xbox One 6 years ago will work with the next generation console.
Yep.
So,
yeah, that's the Xbox promise or whatever. I mean, that's the advantage, and that's, it's just the greatest thing. I mean, the backward compatibility stuff is amazing, and your library pulls forward. I mean, it's what you're going to get with xCloud to some degree. Actually, well, I'm sure some game makers may specifically disallow it, but I mean, for the most part, if your game is compatible with the Xbox One today, it should work on xCloud.
Yeah, I heard from people familiar with whatever the plans, all that Microsoft, when they go to talk about xCloud with like non-first party companies, they walk in there and show them their game running on xCloud. It's not anything else. Like they go in there and say, this is your game running on xCloud. Do we have permission to do it effectively?
Yeah. This is the amount of work you're going to have to do to make it work. Just sign this document.
Here's the DocuSign. Here's a Surface
You probably
Pen.
haven't used your a pen in a while, but aside from that slight bit of pain,
So, anyways, well, keeping us on our toes. So that's good. It's good.
Yeah, that is good.
I like it. It's a different way. Not every company needs a massive press conference for every single thing. That's all I'm saying. So.
Yeah, that's going to be the lesson of Mobile World Congress 2020.
Yeah. Unless you're the LGs and HTCs of the world who can't really drum up interest for your. I know there's somebody listening with an LG phone.
Yeah, nobody cares. Sorry.
I just bought an LG TV. I don't hate the company. Their phones, I don't know why the phones are just.
Nobody hates companies.
Yeah.
Don't hate. We're just reflecting.
I don't know.
Reality.
I kind of hate Facebook. So.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. Okay, but I mean, all right. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe
anyways.
not literally, but yeah, nobody here. I mean, we don't like. I hate a hardware company. Whatever.
No, don't mess it up. We do hate certain countries at times in states.
Yes, right. And entire swaths of people.
We forgot to spin the wheel this week to see who we were going to rag on.
What's going on in Indiana today?
Yeah. I bet there's some I was going to say some corn and cars being made. Now I'm going to say carns being made. There's a lot of auto manufacturing. One of the interesting things actually just came out, I think this morning, Firefox with their default encryption just going to be turned on. I'm a big fan of that as long as it doesn't introduce latency to the process.
Right.
That's a pretty big deal.
Here's the tip on this one. Everyone's doing it. So if you're using a Chromium-based browser to like the new Edge, you can go into the flags, Edge://flags, search for secure DNS, and it will come up. You can enable it right now if you want to just use it. Opera released a new version of their browser where it's enabled by default. Firefox is doing it on a rolling basis in the US only. Anyone can turn it on. I think the only browser maker that is not explicitly supporting it yet is Apple, and I would expect it. WWDC that probably announced that. So.
Yeah. The other thing too, I need to figure this out. I'm sure there's a way to do it. In a browser, I'm sure you've gone to a website and says, "Hey, do you want notifications from X site?" I literally want no notifications from any site ever on the.
You want to turn that off?
There's got to be a way to do that.
There is a way to do that.
I just haven't looked into it enough.
Yep, I won't be able to tell you off the top of my head, but you can turn that off. Yeah. You can.
Because one of my favorite sites for just casually just blowing off time is bringatrailer.com. If you're not familiar with that, it is a car auction website, and they've just got a lot of neat cars and whatnot. And if I had unlimited funds, I would buy a bunch of them. But they are horrible with that stinking pop-up. Even if you hit block, like it keeps coming in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yep. You can turn that off.
Yeah. That's the other thing. What else is going on? Opera,
what else is going on?
Opera put out a new browser with a new branding or something.
Yeah, they were using that Reborn branding the last 3 years, so now it's
still
using. Now they're going with it's still R for Reborn and then the year. So instead, like it was Reborn 1, 2, 3 in 2017, 18, and 19, and now for 2020 it's R 2020. Get it? Because it's 20.
Oh boy.
Yep. So we got that going for us. I don't know. Azure Sphere, generally
Very
available.
exciting.
2 years later.
Has it really been 2 years?
Mm-hmm. April 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Remember Brad Smith had the little chip on his finger
Yeah.
instead of on his shoulder like usual.
He must have dropped it between the couch cushions. That's why it took so long.
Right, exactly. Smaller than my contact. I got something in my eye. Oh, it's an Azure Sphere device. Yeah, there's not much going on. Windows 10 version 1909, 22.6% of PCs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of meh. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing I'm waiting for in the Windows world actually is the Power Toys app to be updated.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because they're working on a new search experience. It's going to look a lot more. I think it's called Alfred on Mac or whatever. But
okay.
But like you press the Windows key and it brings up a bar in the center. And I know that there's third-party apps, but some of the screens that I think they
you're
posted.
talking about I use that all the time on the Mac. I love that. Yeah, I used to use a third-party utility to do that on Windows, actually.
I think Wox, WOX is one. There's a couple others, but I always seem to have the same issues with them. They just never kind of work as expected. And so if you're looking for features coming to Windows 10, there's Power Toys. That's about...
There are two things from the Mac I would like to see in Windows. That's one. And of course, I mean, you can make the argument that it's because on the Mac, you type, I think it's like command space or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the equivalent. It's a spotlight search, right? So it's the equivalent of just hitting the Windows key and typing. I mean, but it happens in the middle of the screen. The other one is, I don't really care about the dock versus taskbar, but I like that the icons are centered on the dock.
Yeah, I think that might be coming.
Yeah, I wish they would make that as an option. I know some people like, what about muscle memory, whatever. But if you don't use like the search box or the task switcher, whatever that's called, the task view button or the Cortana button, everything gets shifted over, to the left. I mean, it'd be kind of neat, and especially like Windows 10X, if you think about it, because they're basically getting rid of the tray, or at least the tray is a big item, with icons in it. It would create a really symmetrical view. I'd like it.
It's one of those things that not everybody's going to need it or want it, and that's fine. But why not just give the option? Like that's
right.
It's
right. That's the point. That's exactly right. I know some people are like, whatever, but it's like, well, yeah, you don't have to use it. I mean, it's just like some people like to put the taskbar on the top of the screen or on the side or whatever. I mean, it's
we call them sociopaths.
Thank you, but I mean, whatever. But more power to them. Whatever. I don't want it, but I mean, I don't mind that it's there. I don't resent that other people do it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for this power toy. I think it's killing me. I can't find this. Anyway, I'll look for that. But
yeah,
yes, should be an option.
It should be. It should be. Oh man, I was trying to think of what else is going on. Not a whole lot actually. I mean, the Xbox stuff came out of nowhere. The new dashboard I think is rolling out too on the Xbox for those who are not, which I am not, by the way, on the Insider program on my Xbox.
I am, and I mean, I knew it was coming, and I saw the story, and I looked at it, and I was like, I already have this. What's the big deal here? I mean, it's not. Yeah, listen, they've made so many tweaks to that homepage on the dashboard. You kind of lose track of it, but
yeah.
It's fine. It works fine. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. So that's rolling out too. So you can go download that if.
Well, you're gonna get it whether you want it or not. So enjoy.
So. Here's what happened on Netflix last night, Paul.
Okay.
Scrolling down through the list of stuff,
I came across the 4K list.
Well, it popped up. I promise you, it was not there like 48 hours ago. Now I tweeted at these
It's
people.
not a complete list, and it's not always there. That's not you. It's just.
I was scrolling down, I was like, son of a... There it is. And,
I think if it detects that you have a 4K screen, which it does, obviously, it's supposed to show it. But I don't always see it either. So sometimes it's right there at the top. Sometimes it's kind of in the list there, as like you said, as you scroll down. And sometimes it's just not there. I don't know why.
The interesting thing, and this is kind of nitpicking stuff that I've realized, is so when watching 1080p content on the 4K TV... when there's fast movement, there's a lot more artifacting, I guess is that the term, around like the fast movement only with
you get it's like a residual thing behind the thing moving, like that.
It's almost kind of like pixelated. Just, I mean, like you really got to be looking for it. But I've noticed it, and I was like, man, that's kind of annoying, especially for how nice this TV is supposed to be. And then when I was watching true 4K content, it was definitely not there.
This is the problem with sports, I think, on 4K TVs, because sports broadcasts are always pretty low res.
Yeah.
For the most part. And that's why I watch baseball. No one moves. It's great.
You should. Can I interest you in golf?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm waiting for the Masters. Our couch is going to be here supposedly tomorrow, or last couches, I should say.
Right.
And then my butt will just be plopped down in front of that couch once I finish the bathroom.
Nice.
For the foreseeable future. Actually, somebody commented, I think it was Eric in the comments, he was like, when's the party? I was like, well, you bring the snacks, I've got the scotch. And it's
I saw that, and I almost commented, like, I want to show up like at your door one day, like hobo style. I'm gonna have like a stick with like a not a bag, but like some item of clothing that is formed into a bag that has other items of clothing in it. And I'll be like, you have Doritos, right? And then just like stay for like a week. At the most inopportune possible time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be great. Like right before we go on vacation, like here, you're going out of town. Like,
need someone to watch your dog?
Yeah, well, there you go. Little Royce needs a companion. So, actually, one of my good friends, I go golfing with him, and I've known him for 30 years. 99.9% of the time when he calls me, he's in my driveway. Like that's.
I like that kind of. Oh well. I should say I always thought I would like that level of familiarity. Like if you ever watched like Friends back in the 90s, like, aside from the fact that they had ridiculously expensive apartments, they would just walk into each other's homes all the time. That was part of the show. Like they would just come in.
That's the kind of friend this is. Like we used to just walk into each other's. Like I went to elementary school with this kid, like all the way through. Yeah. And I would just walk into his house. He'd just walk in, and he calls. He's like, "I'm in your driveway." I'm like, "All right."
Right. No, I mean, right. So we have, it's hard now because we don't live in Boston anymore, so it doesn't happen. But we had friends like that too, and it's just like, at some point, someone had to tell them stop ringing the bell.
Yeah.
Just we know you're coming over, or we don't. It doesn't matter. Just come in.
I'm surprised you don't walk into that lady's house you met in Washington D.C.
I just told that story to some friends who were visiting from out of town at the place where we saw that woman for the second time. We went to that same restaurant, and I was like, man, if she's here, I'm going to kill myself. But no, the Mary Jo 2 story. I'll never live that one down.
We'll end on this. Did I tell you the issue with me listening to music while working and my daughter listening to it? Did I bring this up? Anyways, you can laugh along if I've told this story already.
Yep.
So while doing my basement, I like the band Train. I can just put it on. It's relatively-ish family friendly. Like it's not, I don't have to worry about like excessive swearing and all that stuff. But
like the usual stuff you listen to.
Yes. Usually the hip hop and the rap,
the goth rock that you usually listen to. A lot of yelling.
But like it's fine. Like I can just throw it on. I can just pay it or whatever. And as I was listening to this, I was actually really starting to listen to it. They talk a lot about working girls, which is actually, for those who are not of English language, that's prostitution. But they don't say it that way. And like, there's a surprisingly number of songs about this. Clearly, the lead singer was into this at some point in his life or whatever. But they refer to it as working girls. My daughter's like hanging downstairs, and she's like, "Daddy, isn't it great that mommy's a working girl too?" And I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, the world has changed a little bit.
It's like, yes, I didn't like correct her. It's like, yes, mommy does work, and that's great. Just don't ever
she's
say
technically a girl, so I see where this mistake was made.
And she was working, and one day you'll look back on this and realize that's not what.
Well, you got to meet your wife somewhere, Brad.
Yeah. So. There we go. Why are the red lights on? Why are they on? All right, we'll catch everyone here tomorrow if I'm still married.
You'll be fine.